Hi, everyone, and welcome to the July 7th, 2020 episode of the Contour Community Meeting. Today, we got a few important announcements to make. Then we have some status updates, of course, but let's start with sharing the screen here so you all can see what we're talking about. There we go. All right. I think, Michael, you want to say something here?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thanks, Jonas. So after a 6-month process, Contour is now part of CNCF. So we are finally one of the incubating projects in the CNCF with Leapfrog Sandbox. So we kind of skipped that step. And now we're among the 15 or so projects that are incubating CNCF with a goal to eventually graduate. This is like kind of huge for us. I think number one is, it's a testament to all of the work that the community, our maintainer team, everybody has basically worked, that everybody that has worked on Contour, including Dave Cheney, our emeritus maintainer. This is, we build a great product, a great project. It fits the needs of a lot of the folks that are working in Kubernetes from a networking standpoint for Ingress. And more importantly, we also build a community. We have lots of contributors that are coming in and pitching in on Contour. We have a number of enterprises and users that are putting Contour in production. All of those kind of fulfill the blueprint for incubating at the CNCF, and the TOC accepted us about a week ago into the incubation, and we look forward to working with the rest of the community and the rest of the CNCF projects. But again, huge thumbs up, huge clapping to the team. This is a great effort. And I would like to believe that the inclusion of Steve Chris to our community is what moved us past, moved the needle, moved the bar, and now we're part of CNCF.
Just fantastic.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Woohoo! And thanks for all your hard work on that, Michael.
Yeah, and we're not done yet, right? So we have a huge roadmap for Contour. We're going to continue innovating. We're going to make sure that we align very well with service APIs. We're going to make sure that we build one of the best ingresses for Kubernetes. So this is a huge for us, and let's enjoy this time for now.
Sounds awesome.
If you guys want to retweet this, Jonas send a tweet. There's the press release that Jonas has on his website right now. If you go to twitter.com project_contour, you'll see our tweet. Feel free to share the love.
Yes, please. And I think that was shared also in the project channel over in the Kubernetes Slack, so you can always find it there. Awesome. Yeah, thank you to the community. Thank you everyone for making this possible. All right. Any comments, questions on that topic? All right, then I think we're going to dive into the other topics here for tonight. First off, we have an Envoy security release. Who wants to talk about that?
Yep, I can. So I think, James, you did the release last week. So this doesn't change Contour in any way. It just bumps the version of Envoy from 1.14.2 to 1.14.3. And listed in the upgrade notes here, which is handy, are all the CVEs that got fixed in the new release. So it's recommended that you upgrade to this whenever you can, to the latest 1.14.3. Or if you're running an older version of Contour, I guess you could go to the 13 to 12s. But that was it. That was just the only upgrade, was just changing the YAML to point to this new version. And then just today, 1.15 got released. So another upgrade to go. We haven't done a release for that yet, but that's just got released like an hour ago.
We need a full-time job keeping up with Envoy releases.
I know. I mean, it's good, but yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
it may be worthwhile asking them, Steve, is, I'm sure they knew about some of the security releases beforehand, right? Like, why don't they try to batch them up? That way they only have one update. I mean, they have an embargo period, so it's not like anybody knew about it. So I mean, they could. I don't know if it's worth raising it to them. Like, if they can batch some of these security updates, that way that a week ago there was one, now there's another one.
Well,
It's not like it's a big problem, but it's worth asking them.
Yeah, the 1.14.3 was CVEs, the 1.15, which is the future release. So they're just coincidental that they're that close together. But
okay,
yeah.
All right. Any other questions, comments on that? Okay, diving into some proposals.
Yeah, I added these because these are sort of new as of last week. So I'm not sure if James, if you want to talk about the auth proposal or not, but we're looking for feedback on this one as well as the second one. Just wanted to call it out because it was good. Just going to ask folks on the call or folks watching this later if they are interested in putting their 2 cents in as to what these designs, what they need out of the designs, that sort of thing. If it doesn't fit what they need, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, there's a bunch of reading and places to give feedback on Auth, which would be really good. We've had some feedback on 2459, and there's a lot of history around 432. But yeah, it'd be great if people can read this design doc. There's a section at the end which lists discussion topics, which are kind of arbitrary decisions that we've made in the doc, but that may not be good for everyone. So feedback on those would be really great. But yeah, in general, give it a read. Feedback, I'm around on Slack all the time, so you can Slack me or on the PR.
Michael, I seem to remember you having requests around this, so we'd love for you to take a look, maybe before the next community meeting. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, are you talking, which Michael?
Michael Payne, that was talking to you.
That's you.
Yes, I know that I've been prodded by our rep to have a look at this, so I'll try and take a look this week and get back to you guys.
Thank you, awesome.
And Michael, I know we owe you an SLA, SLO for some of the different projects on our end, and we'll talk about that offline as well.
Sure, thanks.
Proxy status conditions, I know that was mostly Nick doing the thinking about that. Steve, can you say anything?
Yeah, so the goal of this was up until today with Ingress Route as well as HTTP proxy, Contours had a status condition in those objects. So it was basically, is it valid or not, and then like a description. If it wasn't valid, kind of what went wrong, and it gave you like a first out kind of error. So if something was errored out or incorrect, you would say invalid, you'd get the first one, and potentially you could fix that and get a second thing that's wrong, and fix that and get another one. It also didn't give you, because it's so basic, it doesn't give you a whole lot of feedback as to what else could be going on, either good or bad. So if you have a child proxy in a different namespace, what things are included to it, where does it come from, this, what certs are delegated to it, that sort of thing. So the goal here is to make the status kind of stanza a little more robust and feature rich, to allow for more feedback to the user as to what's going on. So this is from Nick, and unfortunately he's not here to talk about it. But again, a good read, a good thing to look through and add some comments to. But the high level thing is having this condition stanza, and so instead of having a single, it's valid or invalid, you can have a set of conditions that make up, hey, it's an error, and here's the 5 things that are wrong. That sort of idea. And this is following closely along with how Upstream is kind of doing some of their feedback as well. So it should match into other Upstream projects. But yeah, so the goal is to help extend this functionality. So once we have more of this data, then we can drive things like Octant plugins maybe, or some other, kind of rich UIs to help users kind of dig into what's going on with their resources that they manage themselves.
Awesome. Any questions, comments on this design doc?
I know that Nick has been going back and forth on the default of positive versus negative conditions. So anyone watching this that has been paying attention to that conversation around conditions generally would love your feedback here too.
All right, moving on to the last item of today here, the configurable timeouts.
Yeah, this is mine. I've been working on this, well, I was on vacation last week, but anyway, Nick had identified a set of Envoy timeout values that we wanted to make configurable through the contour config file. Some of these currently have contour defined defaults, and some of them just rely on the Envoy default behavior. But we want to expose all of them as optional configurable values through the contour config file. So basically just going through the set of settings that are in the second bullet here in this comment. So drain timeout, idle timeout, request timeout, stream idle timeout, and max connection duration, and wiring these through. So I'm just kind of doing them one PR per setting. And I'll continue to work through the rest of the work that's in this comment once I get through that initial set.
This is great, Steve. Makaya and Michael, have you guys encountered any issues around timeouts so far in your contour deployments? Is this an issue?
Yeah, we've encountered quite a bit of issue, in particular around WebSocket and TCP timeouts. And some of that has been misconfiguration and sort of lack of clarity, but we do think there are some lingering issues there with what should be long-lived connections dropping in between it's sort of weird timings. It's like 15 minutes, 25 minutes, 40 minutes. Like it's always sort of some sort of multiple of 5 minutes, even though people set timeouts that are much longer. So we're still trying to dig into and replicate some of those. The other issue we've got is that because we've had the issues with the releases, looks like we might have another one with 1.6 with the seg faults with the Lua, but we just haven't been able to get through some of these upgrades to get more current envoys. So yeah, this is something we're having issues with, and we need to do some more testing to work out what specifically those issues are.
Yeah, as soon as you guys have more data on that, specifically which timeouts may be problematic, or once you actually have enough evidence, you're saying that the timeouts are always multiples of 5. Let's get that data to Steve Chris so he can at least internalize it and see, is this something that could be solved by this PR? Is this something that we can adjust later on? We'll have to have some of that data so we can get deeper into this and see if we can solve this problem for you all.
Yeah, and just another request I would have is in terms of those, the items that Nick has there in the PR, just be really clear about where they apply. Like there's WebSockets, HTTP1, HTTP2, TCP. Are there differences? What applies where? Some clarity there would really help too.
Yeah, I think part of this PR is documentation and kind of putting in some data there around what these different knobs are and how they apply. So that's going to be some of the work that we're going to have to do before we release this.
Great.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Some of these are directly mapping to Envoy, right? So we're going to ship you to the documentation of Envoy, but for the ones that we control, we'll make sure there's adequate details there.
Sure.
I know when Nick was thinking about this a number of months ago, he did a pretty big deep dive on Envoy timeouts because apparently they're somewhat complex. And so I think part of this deliverable is also documenting them and documenting exactly how the contour timeout settings map. And I know Nick mentioned that to one of the Envoy developers, and they were really excited about shipping the research that Nick did.
I mean, in general, the Envoy project is very happy to take documentation improvements.
So are we.
It was Matt.
So are we.
I think that goes for any open source project.
It was Matt Klein in particular that said, "Oh, please, please explain timeouts. Send it."
Yeah, I mean the FAQ that they have is pretty decent, but I don't know that it covers everything. I think it probably covers the high level and the main items, but maybe not an exhaustive documentation.
All right. Any other questions, comments on this? All right. Michael, do you want to say a few closing words?
I mean, I don't have anything, any wisdom to offer here. For the folks that keep joining us week after week, Makaya, Michael, and others that maybe didn't make it today, thank you. This is huge. It's your participation, your insight, bundle testing Contour alongside with us. It's what's making this possible. So thank you. Keep coming. Reward you with a great project. We want to build a great community. We want to take Contour to new heights, and we look forward to what's coming next from all of us. Cool. Everybody, see you in a few weeks. Bye.
Have a good one, everyone.